What's going on, y'all? June Archer here, Winner Circle. This is 50 again with my guy, Sascha Penn, the incredible executive producer, showrunner. Every time we get together, it is a wonderful time. Sascha, Raising Kanan has given us some of the most layered characters throughout the duration of this franchise. For you, what was your approach to making audiences empathize with the
Hmm.
characters who often morally make questionable choices?
Right. Well, first off, June, it's always great to see you. Really appreciate you. Um, I think part of the challenge of the show was sort of like, you know, getting the audience to see that like, yes, people can make questionable choices, maybe even sort of, frankly, morally challenging choices, right? But
Right.
there's still humanity in them. They're complicated people, that there are good people who do bad things, and there are bad people who do good things. Like, this is life, right? Like, and that's real. And this show was always conceived of as a family drama, And by the way, families are complicated and they're fraught and they can be amazing, but they can also be, frankly, dangerous. And that was always the intention of the series, sort of explaining the family that birthed Kanan Stark. What did that family look like? How did he become who he became? And so, it's a complicated story full of complicated characters, and I think that's the most interesting television, frankly, and the most interesting stories.
And we talk about family dynamics, and you
Right.
talk about this family. For you, what are you going to miss most about writing
Hmm.
and directing what this looks like, taking it from pen and paper to the arc to actually bringing it on the screen?
Yeah. Well, it's the first show I ever ran, so it will always be incredibly special to me. I gotta say, June, I really loved these characters. I really did. And a big part of that is because of the actors we brought in to play the characters, who just gave them a life all their own. And I became on some level a fan myself. Just sort of there's just so much of it I'm gonna miss, and it's weird in doing all these interviews today. Like, I hadn't really thought about it, but it is closing a chapter, not just on like a power series, but closing a chapter in my own life. You work for 5 years on something, a lot of stuff happens, and a lot of stuff happens to the people you're working with. Um, and so that's all sort of bundled into all this, all those experiences, some of which were great, some of which were really hard. And so, there is, I take a lot of solace in the fact that I think we delivered like a really, really great ending conclusion to the story we started. I think it's satisfying. I think we got to where I wanted to get to. And so I take a lot of pride in that, and I hope the audience, frankly, feels the same way.
Now, when you talk about your life and how it compares, and we talk about your journey, if there's
Right.
one lesson about power, the family, uh,
Hmm.
or the ambition that you've learned from writing Raising Canaan, what would it be as you embark on the next chapter of your career?
Um, I think I mean, on some level, it's humility in that, you always need to be in a position where you can learn, because every day is frankly an opportunity to get better at whatever it is that you do. You could be a better father, you could be a better son, you could be you know, um, and so I think that's been a big part of, again, my journey. But look, I won't lie, it's also been painful too. There's been a lot of not as it relates to like producing the show, but my personal life. And so, I mean, I think resilience is a big part of everything we do, across the board. But uh, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I've learned I got so much more out of this than I gave it in some respects. And I'm just talking about just like in terms of the experience and in terms of I do really believe that like doing this has made me a better friend, a better father. I do believe that. And the irony of that is that I've had to spend a lot of time away from my friends and family, right? And maybe that's helped me value them more in different ways. But also, I just think, exploring the family dynamics of the Thomases has allowed me to explore the family dynamics of my own family in ways I didn't expect. So, yeah, man, there's a lot there. There's a lot there.
Well, we appreciate you. We will continue to explore. We will continue to lead with humility. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Sascha Penn, executive producer, showrunner. Last season, Raising Kanan. Check it out on Stars. This is June Archer, the Winner Circle on this50.com. Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace.
June, always a pleasure, man. You always
Love
ask
you,
the best
Sascha.
questions. Yeah, you ask the best questions, bro.
Thank you, brother. I love you. Continued success.
Back at you,
I'll give
man.
you a ring.
All right, my man. Be well, June.
Peace.